Welcome. In today's video, we're installing some DIY rock sliders on the Jeep from XO Fab so we can protect it while we're rock crawling. To give you some quick details on these sliders, they are the 60-inch DIY rock sliders from XO Fab with the bump. I figured with the bump and how these rock sliders are, they will protect the Jeep while we're rock crawling, and they'll be a great step to access the roof, to take anything off the roof or open the rooftop tent. They do come fully assembled if you want them to weld it, or a DIY kit like this, and they do come with or without the bump. I will have a link to their website down below. As you can see, I have a lot of it prepped already with the grinder, so we are almost ready to weld. The only things holding me back from welding is the spacing on these pieces. So I'm going to figure out the spacing, mark them, and prep them with the grinder, and then clean it all up with acetone. So then we're ready to weld on this thing. All right, we are completely prepped as much as we possibly can. I have everything wiped down with acetone. I even have it clamped so everything will be held together tight. I have a good ground. Everything is grinded down. So my plan is I'm going to tack weld each end and then tack weld each side of each support and then flip it and do the same thing. So then it's held together, it won't fall apart, and it's nice and tight. And then from there, I'll set the other slider on top, do the same exact thing, get everything supported, clamp it down, and tack weld that together, and then from there we could fully burn it in. Got both sliders welded up. I wasn't able to weld the legs onto them yet. I got to do some measuring on the unibody and everything like that and prep the unibody. But I'm extremely happy with how it welded. Some of them look pretty good, some look decent. Move on down here. I set the welder to 1/8 and it was easily able to weld this 120 wall. So I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, zero issues with them. I welded on the end caps for both sides too. So we are at a good stopping point. I will hit these with a wire brush, and then I gotta prep the unibody of the Jeep and weld the legs onto the sliders, and then from there we can mount them. So before I clean up the slider and make it look pretty, I'm gonna prep the legs. I marked about 2.5 inches on each leg for my custom gussets I got made. Not really custom, but I got them cut out at a local metal shop for extremely cheap compared to online. And they're the same wall thickness as the legs themselves. So it should be easy to weld them on. And it should give me some extra strength when mounting these to the unibody stiffener. So I'm gonna clean up each of the legs, clean up each of the gussets, and then from there we'll get to mounting these to the unibody. So we have all of the gussets cleaned up with the grinder, and I put acetone on them to completely clean them, along with cleaning up the end of the pipe. So this is where I'm at. I have the slider laid out with the magnet holding it in place, and then I have a magnet at the end that will hold the gusset at an angle on the pipe, so it will be level with the slider. So I'm going to have each of them at an angle to add to the strength, and from there I'll tack weld each gusset on there, fully weld them in, all 6 of them. Well, all of the legs are fully welded up with the gussets, and I am at the point now where I'm going to start cleaning everything up, all of the welds with the grinder. Then from there, I will prep the body of the Jeep for the legs. And then once everything is prepped and good to go, these things are getting some paint. I am not going to do the bed liner because these are, rock sliders and they're just going to get scratched up on the trail anyways. So I'm just going to rattle can them because, if they get scratched up as I'm expecting, I could just throw some more paint on them and they'll be good to go. So I'm going to clean them up with the grinder and then we'll keep going. Well, boys and girls, we got the angle figured out. It is 12 degrees. So I already prepped the slider itself. I'm going to clean it up with some acetone, the spot on the slider and on the legs. And then I will stick the angle finder to it, figure out my angle, get it on there, and tack weld it into place. I'm going to tack weld each of the legs for both sliders. And then from there, I will mock it up on the body one more time. If it's good to go, then I will fully weld these legs in. Then we are ready to paint, other than this end that will go on the body. So let's get to it. All right, so this is where we are at. The first leg's at 12. Get this one lined up real quick. This one is at 12, if you could see that. And this last one, slightly off, but 12.3. Not the end of the world. I mean, I could smack it down a little or smack it with the hammer a tiny bit and get it down to 12. But 12.3, it's not the end of the world. So I got them tacked on. I'm going to mock them up to the unibody frame, see how it looks, and check the doors again, see if everything clears. If it clears, these are going to get fully welded in. After cleaning up the unibody with the grinder to fresh metal, the next thing I did was I measured on the pinch weld on the other side measurements, just using landmarks like the edge over here or like this cutout, and I marked it with a Sharpie on where I'm gonna grind the pinch weld flat so that the bar or the leg of the slider will go up in there. And I did that for each side or each leg. So the plan now, grind it flat, and then from there we'll mock up the slider and see how everything goes, see if I gotta do any more grinding and clean it up any more, and see if these measurements were correct. Well, here is an update for you guys. This is the passenger side slider, and I had to make a little bit of changes to it. Getting down here, the pinch weld underneath, I had to grind that away just so I could get a closer fitment to the body with the slider. I did that with all three of the slider legs just so it fits a lot closer and it looks a lot better. And then with the gussets, I should have just added the gussets afterwards, because some of them, I couldn't even really get onto the body all the way, just where, just by how the slider fit. So I am maybe going to add some more gussets in the future, but I was able to get a little bit more, coverage with the addition of the gusset. But I might add additional ones, from here to here or whatever, just to make it even stronger. But I did stand on it. I bounced up and down on the slider. Didn't make a difference at all, but that is different compared to while you're rock crawling and hanging up on a rock. So I will add some more strength in the future to this, but this is pretty much where we're at right now. The passenger side is completely welded in. I will have to just clean it up though with the wire brush and the grinder, just to get rid of the little bit of the gusset that is hanging off. So I'll have to clean that up. And I am going to move on to the driver's side. I haven't prepped the driver's side at all, so I will prep it out, grind down the pinch weld, and then get the slider in place with a couple floor jacks like I did with this one. And I will kind of show you guys how I did that. After prepping everything and getting it all good to go, this is my setup. Just 2 floor jacks with 2 cinder blocks and on the legs, and it's able to press the legs of the sliders up against the body pretty tight. And then I'm still at a very good angle. It comes out to about 13 degrees after the tilt on the unibody and everything like that. And the door is clear by about ½ an inch to 3/4 of an inch. So I am good to go. It matches the passenger side just fine. So the next step, I'm just going to tack it all in place and then move the jacks and the cinder blocks out of the way. Then I could get in there and fully weld it in. Well, it's fully welded in and good to go. The legs, when I get down here, are fully welded up. Some of them I had to weld kind of upside down, so it didn't turn out the greatest, but I went over them again just to try to clean them up and make them stronger. But I am going to get in there with the grinder and just clean it up as much as I can, and the wire brush. And I think I will hit those gussets that I was not able to hit with the welder and weld to the frame, just to help clean it up. And then from there, once it's fully cleaned up and good to go, I think we are ready for paint. Got the gussets completely grinded down. Everything is looking good. So we are ready for paint. So I completely plasticked off the side of the Jeep and left the wheels covered, so I don't get any overspray on the body of the Jeep. I'm going to start painting it, and I'm just going to go with some flat black spray paint on there so I could patch it up, as the years go on and the more and more trails we do. But yeah, this is the final step. Well, we are done with the sliders. I love the angle of them. It should be more than enough to, slide us off of any rocks if we get, hung up while we're wheeling. And I like how much they stick out, because it's perfect to reach up top to get to the tent or anything that is on the roof rack. So I am very happy with that. They look awesome too. I like the flat black, especially for my front bumper and rear bumper options that I'm going with. It will tie in great with all of it. So I've been wanting to do this upgrade for a long time now, and I'm really happy that it's done, and I'm happy that I went with Exo Fab and their DIY kit. So I will leave a link to this kit and their website down in the description of the video. If you've gotten this far, I really want to thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.